My name is Daniel with DisneyGeekery.com, and today I'm with Leslie Kay of DisneyBound.tumblr.com. And before we get into DisneyBounding, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
So I am from Toronto, Canada, and I run the blog Disney Bound, and I sort of went to school for marketing, and fashion was always sort of a hobby of mine, but I never actually was formally trained in it. And so going to school for marketing, which led me to get into social media and Tumblr and interest in all of that, and then I just sort of fell into fashion and Disney Bound.
All right. So what's the story behind Disney Bounding? What's the fashion influence side? What's the Disney influence side? What really got you started with that?
So, do you want the history on the entire blog, or like what Disney Bound?
Well, yeah, just about Disney Bound and how that translated into a blog, and just like the subculture of Disney Bounding. What really got that off the ground?
Okay, well, what Disney Bounding is, it's a way for mainly teenagers and adults to kind of show their Disney side and show their love and appreciation for Disney and play dress up without actually wearing a costume. So it takes trendy clothes and basically outfit off of different Disney characters. So Disney Bound actually started as a travel site. One of my best friends and I, we were going to Disney for a trip that we had planned for a very long time since we were like 8 and never took. So we were just wanting a place to channel our excitement, and from there I did one outfit, and we had a couple hundred followers, and it just took off rapidly. Within a couple of days there was thousands of views, and within a couple of weeks it was like unbelievable.
Yeah, so I mean it's neat because Disney already has kind of its own following, so for a new idea to spring up, it was kind of easy, I guess, to get hit the ground running, so to speak.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
All right, so in just a few words, for someone who has never heard of Disney Bounding before, how would you describe it to them? Just if you were to simplify it, keep it short and sweet, what would you tell them?
I suppose it would be a way of showing your love and appreciation for Disney through fashion.
Okay, that's a great definition. So, like you said, Disney doesn't allow full costumes at the park. And I mean, obviously, somebody can't go to the mall and dress like a princess, so to speak. They can't dress like Rapunzel or Peter Pan or anything like that. So, was the movement kind of inspired by cosplay at all, but just kind of a watered down, toned down version? Or was it just something completely separate from the beginning?
Well, it's something that I had always kind of done growing up, and I know it's something that other people have done too. The idea isn't necessarily original with me; it's come from other people too. And yeah, it was just sort of, I used to go to the mall and I'd pick out a dress and I'd say, oh, this looks like Minnie Mouse, and I would just kind of make the entire outfit from it. So it's kind of cosplay, but kind of just, for me and my imagination, it's just something that I've always just kind of played around with.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now is this something you typically do when you just go to the parks, or is this almost like a daily, a weekly, or just whenever you feel like having fun with your friends type of thing?
I know that lots of people try to make it a habit when they go to the parks. Me living in Canada, I don't get to the parks very often, but when I do go, I do Disney Bound. Day to day, I don't Disney Bound as much as I'd like to, because I'm literally rolling out of bed and then going to work, so there's not that much going into my outfit. Exactly. But yeah, like when I hit up the mall and I see something, I'm like, oh, that's perfect for this character, I have to buy it, and then I start building the outfit from it.
Mm-hmm. So when you do go out, I mean, obviously if you go to the parks, it's going to be a little bit more, people are going to understand what you're doing, and then they're going to identify a character out of your outfit a lot easier. But is this typically something that only Disney fans will get and only Disney Bounders will get? Or do you go out and you get kind of a general population saying, hey, she's just like Minnie Mouse?
I think it's definitely a thing that Disney fans really understand. Disney fans are their own breed, and we definitely are very much into Disney culture. As far as other people who maybe aren't the biggest, like there's obviously people who are going to recognize a Minnie Mouse or something, but definitely the biggest Disney fanatics are going to understand the more complicated outfits and not common characters. But I think everyone can understand it. Whether or not they actually want to participate is another question.
So not everybody wants to go to work dressed like Genie from Aladdin.
Some people like I'm a Peter Pan child, so I like the idea of never growing up. Some people do though. So.
Now, when you decide to portray a character, what are the steps that you go through to complete an outfit?
The easiest for me is I don't pick a character. I go to the mall and I start finding stuff that looks like what they wear. Sometimes that's a lot easier and less frustrating. So I'll go to the mall and I'll just start looking for pieces and I'll see something that inspires me and then I start building it from there. Other people I know pick a character and then go through the stress of trying to find all the exact pieces. But
Mhm. So, is this something that people can do with the clothes they own, or is it almost guaranteed that you're going to have to go out and buy some accessories or something to color match with the outfit?
I think there's probably going to be some aspect of shopping, but Disney Bound is also, I try to encourage that it's there for inspiration. So, if I'm showing a pair of pants that isn't in your price range, I don't mean like you need this pair of pants. So, like when I Disney Bound, I try to find stuff in my closet first, then I go to the mall and I go to like a Forever 21 where it's like super cheap and I just try to complete the entire outfit on a budget. But yeah, there's always going to be some sort of accessory or something that you might need to buy, but hopefully you're not breaking the bank.
Yeah, I mean, as I kind of mentioned with you earlier, I'm lucky enough to live in Los Angeles, and I know a lot of people work for the Disney company. And one thing that I thought was really cool when I visited the animation studio is that they have a whole department of people who just choose color palettes for like animations and stuff like that.
Oh, that's so cool. That would like my dream.
Yeah. So, I mean, are you using the color palettes that these professionals have selected as kind of like an influence on the design of the outfit?
Oh yeah, like picking colors is like one of my favorite things. Like people will walk into my apartment and they'll just like note how I've just color coordinated everything. So I always start to look at the color palette first and foremost, and I figure out like what kind of shirts or pants or dress would go with what, but it all revolves around the color palette. I get very particular about it, and I get very bothered when I can't find the right color of pants or something. It gives me a panic attack.
Now, I took a look at your blog, and we actually have a writer on our staff who is completely into the movement, and she reads the blog, and that's actually what inspired this interview. I said, how do we educate people about this, right? And people have heard it, but they don't know exactly what it is. So looking through some of the outfits that you have, I noticed that you put together like a real nice collaboration of things. So for instance, you'll have a pair of pants that on the shelf will look nothing like it become part of an outfit, but when you tie it in with something else that you've selected, it's like all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's the character. You don't even need to know who it is. You just kind of identify with it already. So that process, is that something that, how can people learn how to do that process? How can they go to the store and say, well, that's a brown pair of pants, but when they put it with this shirt, all of a sudden it's a character?
As far as sort of picking the right pieces for the right characters, you mean?
Yeah, and deciding what part needs to be what color, the top needs to be this color, because if something is influenced by the Lion King, you can't just one shade of like tan or something like that. So how do you create an outfit out of a character that's not really dressed on screen?
So what I generally do, so normally animals, Disney animals, they've got a stomach fur that's a different color, and sometimes their paws will be a different color. So that's where cardigans come in handy. So then I do the stomach fur is the shirt underneath, and then the cardigan is the color of the rest of their body. And then try not to make it like solid brown. I'll try to find like another pair of brown pants or something that goes with the entire color palette, and then generally the shoes are the color of the paws. So there's a whole kind of like in my head a science to it. But yeah, it generally revolves around whatever stomach color the animal has. And then let's see. I guess like for instance Finding Nemo characters, I just kind of try to look for patterns, and I just try not to make it too much orange or whatever. But animals are the most difficult ones to do.
Yeah. Oh, that's great advice, though, because, I mean, just by saying you look at the stomach to dictate what the shirt should be and, what the shoes should be based on the paws, I mean, that's something I think most people who want to maybe give this a shot would not really think. That's really outside the box thinking not everybody might have. So, since you started getting into this trend, what have you seen some people do to kind of evolve the trend? Like, what have they done that's kind of taken it to the next step?
I think it's really cool when I see people go to the parks and they Disney bound and they go full out on the Disney bounding and then they search out a character, like either their character or the character related to them. And then I've got two friends that I just met a couple of months ago, Sarah and Neil, and they will have full day of a photo shoot and just like they just photograph it so well. And also hearing when people go and they meet the characters, hearing the characters react and then play along, because Disney now encourages people to, or encourages their characters to look out for people Disney bounding. So they won't say Disney bounding, but
that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they've actually been told not to say Disney bounding, I think, is what I heard from one cast member. But yeah, so that kind of stuff is really cool to see.
Mm-hmm. Now, what are some of the challenges you have found with certain characters? Now, you already mentioned animals and finding patterns and making stuff not so loud, like in Finding Nemo, not being all orange or something like that. So
yeah.
What are some of the other challenges that you found in really kind of taking something from screen and making it, something wearable?
Let's see. Other than animals, which is like the biggest difficulty that I have day to day, probably other characters that wear solid colors, like Peter Pan, or ones with hats or different hair colors that I'm trying to incorporate with like hair bows or a trendy hat, because fedoras, for instance, aren't that in, but when they were, it was really convenient to just stick a fedora with anything that had a hat. And now I have to work around that because fedoras don't work. But yeah, just pretty much anything that's like a solid color is probably the hardest thing. Okay. And then also people requesting, wanting to see Peter Pan, and I just did Peter Pan 2 weeks ago, so I have to like keep them happy, but not do Peter Pan every 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah, totally. Now, I assume, Disney already has like a full line of princesses, and I've seen some guys do Peter Pan really successfully. What are some other popular male characters that you recommend guys who want to get into this do?
Some of the coolest ones I've seen are always like the classic characters. So Donald Duck, Goofy, Mickey Mouse. Those ones always work so well for guys because they can be simple and classically done. Because I've seen girlfriends, insist on their boyfriends Disney bounding, and sometimes the guy just looks like he's in pain.
Struggling with it, yeah.
Yeah, just really not wanting to. So those ones are like very simple and fun, and they always work out.
Mm-hmm. So far, who have been your favorite characters to portray, and what are your least favorite characters?
My most favorite character that I've ever done is now Donald Duck. So I used to not like Donald Duck as a character. I always found him obnoxious. But then once I started to Disney bound him, I realized how much fun and fashion potential he has. And he's got that classic vintage nautical style, which is super cute to play with. So Donald actually has to be one of my favorites. Snow White is another favorite just because color blocking works so easily with her. It's just so much easier to do and therefore not stressful for me. My least favorite characters, I don't know. I guess again, animals, like any animal,
just
or
back to the animals, right?
Yeah,
blame the animals.
Nemo is one. Like, as much as I love Nemo, orange and black and white sometimes doesn't always work out the way I would want it to. So animals.
Now, how should somebody feel when they're Disney bounding, and what should they consider when they're portraying a character? Like, if they need to choose a character to pick, what should be going on in their head before they select their character?
I guess, first of all, the first thing, people, I think they get a little bit too worked up when it's not working for them. So just the first thing that should go through your head is just relax and have fun with it. And then just as I said, like when you're trying to pick your outfit, look in your closet first and just have fun with it, and work within your budget, and don't get so worked up if it's not working out for you. But yeah, just have fun with it would probably be my only advice.
Very cool. So are there any characters outside of the realm of the Disney universe that you plan on portraying, or are you going to try to keep this exclusively to just the Disney brand?
I try to keep it exclusively Disney, just because I do have people, every time I do something that's not Disney, I get 1,000 messages. Did you know that that's not Disney? So just for my own sanity, I try to keep it Disney. But I do what I call rule breakers, which is because it's my blog, so I haven't really established rules, but people have established rules for me. So
Mhm.
I then break the rules, and I'll do ones that aren't a Disney character. So for all of the month of October, I do a Halloween rule breaker every day, which is something kind of spookier, or something that'd be a fun Halloween costume. I also every so often do Harry Potter days, because
Mhm.
normally Disney fans are also Harry Potter fans, so normally it goes hand in hand, doesn't offend people. Sometimes it
Mhm.
does. But yeah, every so often, if I just am not feeling creative, I'll give myself a break and just do a non-Disney character just to get the juices flowing again. Because sometimes I get stuck in a rut. So I've been doing this for like 2.5 years now, the same
Uh-huh.
character. So sometimes it gets a little frustrating.
So, do you have any future plans now that Disney owns Marvel and Star Wars to kind of use those brands a little bit more in the future?
I do Star Wars characters every so often. Those ones are also ones that are kind of frustrating because it's lots of white. Like they
Mhm.
pretty much all wear shades of white with some black, as
So
far
it's
as
either a
like
wedding or a funeral.
exactly, yeah. And then like trying to do furry things if I don't want to use a furry vest. But also I love doing Marvel too. Those ones just aren't as heavily requested, but I have done Marvel days and Star Wars days and plan on continuing that. And it's more fun now that Disney owns them, because I used to
Mhm.
own some rights, so that would be my like loophole, and I'd have to explain it every time.
Mhm.
But now I can just say Disney owns them, so
Yeah.
stop.
So it's
Thank
it's all Disney now.
yeah.
All right. So, is there anything coming up that your fans may not know of yet that you kind of want to give a hint to, or is there anything big coming up that you're working on that you may want to spoil here before it goes up on the site?
There's nothing I can hint at right now.
Okay. So, with that, just really quickly, if somebody says they see this and they want to start doing it tomorrow, what's a piece of advice that you have for like a complete newbie who just wants to take that first step?
Just look in your closet, have tons of fun, still be yourself. Don't get too worried about, if I'm posting an outfit and you don't think that's going to work for your body type, do what works for you. It's hard to please everyone. So, try not to get too worked up and just have fun with it.
All right. Well, Leslie, it's been an awesome pleasure talking to you today. I really appreciate it. Where can people find you on the web?
You can find me at DisneyBound.tumblr.com.
All right. And do you have a Facebook page, Twitter, all that good stuff as well?
I do have a personal Facebook page, which is Leslie K, which people add me to. And then Twitter is LA or not .com, LA Disneybound. And then I do have an Instagram too, which is Leslie AK.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I think, bringing that element into our site, which is typically a new site, and educating them on something that's totally up their alley will be really helpful for them. So thank you for taking the time with me today.
Awesome. Thank you.